Cognizant to the needs of our learners, parents, and teachers, the Department of Education provided us with powerful tools for productivity that will allow us to foster critical thinking skills, problem-solving skills, communication and collaboration skills to be compassionate, responsible global citizens. Join us and discover new ideas in our series of professional development training program with the ICTS Edtech Unit and Microsoft Education Philippines. Together, we will equip our learners and empower our fellow educators for a dynamic future. Para sa bata, para sa bayan, at para sa guro. Sulong Edukalidad.
Magandang araw, Sir Wilbur po, at your service. Narito ang ETUlay upang gabayan ka sa inyong pag-aaral upang lubos na maunawaan ang iba't ibang paksa o subject. Ang ETUlay ay isang free online tutorial class na pinangungunahan ng ICTS Educational Technology Unit sa pamumuno ni Undersecretary Alain Del B. Pascua. Ang programang ito ay hindi lamang para sa mga bata, kundi ito rin ay magsisilbing gabay sa mga magulang at mga guro kung paano nila ituturo o gagabayan sa bawat asignatura ang kanilang mga anak o mga estudyante. Sa kasalukuyan, ang self-learning module mula sa rehiyon ng Calabarzon at kilala sa tawag na Pivot ang ginagamit sa ating ETUlay online class. Kaya ano pang hinihintay ninyo? Ihanda na ang inyong mga ballpen o lapis, papel o kwaderno at samahan kaming itulay ang pagkatuto para sa bawat batang Pilipino. Sama-sama tayong magtutulungan para malampasan ang mga hamon sa panahong ito. Halina't matuto kasama ang inyong online tutor sa oras na ito.
Ayan. So, hello, good morning, Philippines. Okay, so good morning sa early bird natin, si Arnold, followed by Michelle and Angie, watching from Taisan Senior High School. So, medyo malayo yun, ha? So, good morning. So, nandito na tayo, quarter 4. Quarter 4 and week 1 na tayo. Okay, so ang bilis lang. So, konti na lang, di ba? Matatapos na ang isang school year. So, wag na natin patagalin. So, let us start. Next, please. Ayan. So, quarter 4, week 1, our topic for this week is about adjusting entries. Okay, next, please. So, objective natin for this week, at the end of the session, you will be able to prepare adjusting entries. So, very simple, pero, so, ayan. So, sige, adjusting entries na tayo. So, sa accounting cycle, nasa ilan na ba? Ilan ang napag-aralan natin sa accounting cycle? So, di ba, I showed you 10 steps in the accounting cycle. We were able to study 4 already. The first one is the identifying and analyzing of the source, the transactions from the source documents. And of course, we studied journalizing, okay, posting, and the preparation of the trial balance. Okay, so kung wala namang adjustments na, yung trial balance na ginawa natin last week, pwede na siya maging basis para makagawa ka ng financial statements. Pero, kung meron ka pang dapat i-adjust, so you can generate a more accurate balances, makapagbigay ka ng mas magandang financial statements, we will study. Okay, so hindi pa yon. Gagawa pa tayo ulit ng panibagong trial balance. So let us begin studying adjusting entries. Hi, Angie, and hi, Jeanette. Okay, so ayan. So eto, looking back sana tayo. Okay, pagagawain ko sana kayo ngayon ng trial balance. I have here informations from Gala Travel and Tours. So, nandyan yung mga accounts and their balances. So, halo-halo siya. Pagagawain ko sana kayo ng trial balance. But since very limited yung time natin, so Pwede nyo na lang sigurong screenshot ito, gawin sa bahay, okay? Para makaproceed na tayo sa ating main topic, which is the adjusting entries. So, i-reveal ko na lang agad sa inyo yung sagot. Next, please. So, ang trial balance natin, ang debit balance niya dyan ay 51,800. Same thing with the credit balance, okay, which is 51,800. So, yan. Yan na yung sagot dun sa ating activity sana. Kaya lang limited kasi yung time ng accounting 1. Okay? At medyo mahaba ang topic natin. So, proceed na po tayo. Screenshot nyo na lang po kasi gagamitin pala natin yan. Okay? Sa bandang huli ng session na ito. Okay, so adjusting entries na tayo. Okay, so adjusting entries are journal entries that update the general ledger accounts and ensure accuracy of information presented in the financial statements. Next, please. Ayan, so ayan yung binanggit ko lang kanina, adjusting entries. So, journal entries din ito, pero ina-update niya ang general ledger accounts and ensure accuracy of information presented in the financial statements. So, let us study the characteristics of the adjusting entries. So, each entry is recorded at the end of the accounting period. So, end of the accounting period tayo. So, usually that's December 31. Second, each entry has at least one balance sheet account, asset or liability, and at least one income statement account, either revenue or expense. And of course, the last one, cash account is never affected when doing the adjusting process. So, pag magagawa na tayo ng adjusting entries, wala tayong cash na gagamitin. Okay? So, there are 6 types of adjustments. Okay, 6 types of adjustments. The first one is the prepaid expenses. Okay, second, accrued expenses. 3, unearned revenue. 4, accrued revenue. 5, depreciation. And 6, bad debts. So, yan. So, nakikita nyo na sa screen yung 6 types of adjustments. Yan ang pag-aaralan natin ngayon. So, medyo mahaba, kaya bilisan natin. So, let us begin now with number 1, prepaid expenses. Okay, so prepaid expenses are expenses already paid by the company but not yet incurred or used. These are advance payment of the company for an expense. Okay, so there are 2 methods, asset method and expense method. So advance payment to. Prepaid expenses, yung iba prepayments ang ginagamit nilang term. Okay, so let us study the first method, which is the asset method. Next, please. So asset method, so the advance payment is initially debited as an asset. So kapag ang company nagkaroon siya ng advance payment at hindi pa naman niya ginagamit, hindi pa niya nakukonsume, pinapasok ito sa asset. So nagiging asset account muna siya. So ang journal entry niya upon payment, okay, upon cash out, you have debit, prepaid expense, okay, and then credit cash. And then after, pag nagamit mo na, okay, pwedeng nagamit mo lahat or portion lang nun, adjusting entry will be the expense, okay, debit expense, and credit prepaid expense. So nakita nyo kanina naka-debit ang prepaid expense. Since nagamit mo na siya at nabawasan, ilalagay mo siya sa adjusting entry sa credit side para mabawasan siya at makuha mo ang ending balance. So note lang, note here, the amount in the adjusting entry represents the expired or used portion of the prepayments. So ang amount na makikita nyo sa adjusting entry is kung magkano yung nagamit niya. Okay, doon sa kanyang prepayments or prepaid expense. Okay, let's proceed now with expense method. Okay, expense method. Okay, the advance payment is initially debited as expense, even if it is not yet used up. So siguro naisip nung company, kapag nagbayad siya ng, nag-advance payment siya for an expense, anyway, eventually magiging expense to, idiretso ko na lang siya as expense. Kaya journal entry niya upon payment, debit expense, okay, and then credit cash. And then at the end of the period, ang adjusting entry ay debit prepaid expense and credit expense. So nakikita nyo, dun sa umpisa sa journal entry, debited ang expense. Yun ang nasa isip niya, magiging expense naman to eventually. Pero at the end of the period, hindi naman pala niya nagamit lahat. So hindi siya pwedeng manatili sa expense lang. Kasi lalaki ang expense ninyo at liliit ang income. Kaya dapat ilipat mo siya sa isang account, okay? Prepayments, okay? Or prepaid expense account para siya ay nasa asset pa rin. So take note lang. So the amount in the adjusting entry represents the unused portion of an expense at the end of the period. Okay, so here's an example. So give the adjusting entries on December 31, 2020. So July 31, paid 49,200 amount of advance office rentals for 6 months. So nag-advance payment si company, si business. Okay, 6 months advance office rentals. So asset method muna tayo. So ang magiging entry mo dyan ay debit prepaid rent. Okay, bakit rent na ngayon ang ginamit ko? Kasi office rentals ang advance payment niya. So papalitan nyo lang yung kasunod ng prepaid. Pwedeng prepaid supplies, prepaid insurance. So yun, prepaid advertising. So ganun siya. So ang entry natin dyan is debit. Asset method tayo asset method. So ilalagay po na natin siya sa asset account which is the prepaid rent. So debit, prepaid rent, 49,200 and credit cash. Kasi naglabas ka ng cash. Okay? 49,200. And your explanation will be to record 6 months rent payment. So, i-observe ninyo yung indention ng ating mga entries. So, ang credit, indented siya. And yung explanation, indented pa siya even more. Okay? And then, at the end of the accounting period, okay, kung meron pang, kung kailangan na natin ng adjusting entry kasi nagamit na yan. So, from July 31 to December 31, we have how many? 5 months? So, we have 5 months. So, yung 5 months ng prepayment niya ay na-consume na niya or nagamit na niya, na-expired na. So, ang entry natin ay debit rent expense. Okay? So, yung rent expense, 41,000 and credit prepaid rent, 41,000. Okay? And then, of course, our explanation to record the expired rent. Okay. Saan ko nakuha yung 41,000? Okay. 49,200 kasi is 6 months payment. So, divide mo yan ng 6 months. So, ang lalabas ay 8,200. Okay? Per month. That is the rent per month. And na-consume na yung 5 months. Okay, nagamit na. So, 8,200 times 5, you'll get 41,000. Na magiging rent expense na siya. Okay, so tatanggalin mo na siya sa prepaid rent kasi na-consume mo na siya. Okay, so 41,000. So, ganun lang siya. So, yun ang portion yan. So, dun sa adjusting entries natin, ang amount dyan ay ang used portion of the prepaid rent. Okay? Let's now move to the expense method. Okay, so same transaction, but this time, we will use the expense method. So, ang entry mo, expense. Okay? So, debit rent expense, 49,200, and credit cash, 49,200. And your explanation, to record 6 months rent payment. Okay? So, yun. So, upon releasing of your cash, papasok mo muna siya diretso mo na siyang ipinasok sa expense. Okay? Kasi yun naman ang naisip mo eh. Gagamitin mo rin naman siya eventually. But, on December 31, okay, ito na yung gawaan ng mga reports. Hindi naman naubos lahat eh. Kaya kailangan mong tanggalin na sa expense yung natitirang hindi pa nagagamit. So, on December 31, your entry will be, okay, debit prepaid rent, okay, 8,200. And credit rent expense, 8,200. Okay, an explanation to record the unexpired rent. So, 8,200 na lang ang natitira. Okay? So, January mo yan magagamit. Kaya, tatanggalin mo yung 8,200 sa initial entry mo na rent expense kasi hindi naman siya expense. Ilalagay mo ngayon siya sa prepaid rent. Okay? So, yung amount na yan ay ang unused portion of an expense. Okay? So, that's one. Let's move to the next adjusting entries, which is the accrued expenses. Okay? So, accrued expenses are expenses already incurred or used, but not yet paid by the company. Examples are Meralco and Maynilad bill. Okay, so accrued expense daw are things the business owe but do not have invoices yet. Parang alam mong nag-i-incur ka ng expenses, like habang gumagamit ka ng kuryente, habang gumagamit ka ng tubig, ang kahit hindi ka pa sinisingil, alam mong nagkakaroon ka ng utang. Okay, yun ang accrued expenses. So, this somehow similar with accounts payable, pero sa ibang mga bagay siya ginagamit. Mostly, accrued expenses, ginagamit siya sa mga bills, okay, utilities. While accounts payable, ginagamit siya, okay, pag meron kang purchases, okay, made on credit. Okay, pag bumili ka tapos hindi mo binayaran, yung agad-agad meron kang invoice, alam mo agad na may utang ka. Okay, so adjusting entry at the end of the period, debit expense and credit accrued expense payable. Okay, so example natin. Next, please. Okay, so here, the company received its Meralco bill in the amount of 10,500. The company intends to pay after the new year. So, ayan ang debit mo, December 31. Entry pala, okay? Debit, utilities expense, 10,500, and credit, utilities payable, 10,500. And of course, your explanation to record unpaid Meralco bill. Okay, so ganyan ang accrued expenses. Sabi nga, ang company daw, all year round, meron siyang accrued expenses. Unlike accounts payable, pag bumili lang siya ng hindi nagbayad, that's the time na nagkakaroon siya ng accounts payable. Okay? Let's move now to the third one, which is the unearned revenue. Okay, unearned revenue is income already received by the company but not yet earned. So this is an advance collection of payment for an income from the customers. Okay, so si customer naman this time ang nagkaroon ng advance payment. Okay, so there are two methods, liability method and income method. I hope you can still follow, ha? Kasi medyo mabilis talaga tayo. Okay, so let us see the example. Okay, so liability method, a liability account is credited upon receipt of cash since the company is liable to provide service. So, eto siya. So, pagkatanggap mo ng advance payment ni customer, ang entry mo is, of course, debit cash kasi meron kang tinanggap na pera and credit unearned revenue. Unearned revenue is a liability account. Okay? Ma'am, revenue yan eh. Bakit naging liability? Okay, kasi advance payment yan, hindi ka pa nagtatrabaho. Tumatanggap ka na ng bayad from customers. So ano yon? Di ba meron kang utang sa kanya? Kaya unearned revenue is a liability account. So at the end, if ever services are rendered, adjusting entry will be debit unearned revenue and credit revenue. Kaya pinagtrabahuhan mo na eh. So magiging legit na siya na revenue. Kaya ang credit mo ay revenue na. And then, from the liability account na unearned revenue, tatanggalin mo na yung portion na pinagtrabahuhan mo na. So take note, the amount in the adjusting entry represents the earned portion of the liability. Okay? So let us see. Example, no. Income method pala muna tayo. Okay, so income method naman, an income account is credited upon receipt of cash. Okay? Representing income even if it is still to be earned. Okay? So, nilagay mo na siya diretso sa income. So, naiisip mo siguro is, anyway, pagtatrabahuhan ko naman yan, idiretso ko na lang siyang income. So, journal entry upon receipt of cash, okay, is debit cash, okay, and then credit, okay, revenue. Okay, credit revenue. So if services are not rendered at the end of the period, adjusting entry will be credit, debit revenue and credit unearned revenue. So as you can see, sa adjusting entries natin na walang cash account. Kasi that's one characteristic of the adjusting entry. So kung kanina, original journal entry mo, pinasok mo na agad sa revenue, something happened. Hindi mo siya napagtrabahuhan. So, tanggalin mo siya sa revenue. Ipasok mo siya sa unearned revenue. Magiging liability mo siya. Kasi, okay, nasa iyo yung bayad. Unless isoli mo na yung bayad. Okay, so take note, the amount in the adjusting entry represents the unearned portion of the revenue. Unearned portion of the revenue. So, yung amount dyan is yung hindi mo napagtrabahuhan. Okay, so let us see the examples. Liability method muna tayo. So I have here transactions. So received in advance, 2-year rent. Okay, si company nakatanggap ng 2 years. Okay, advance rent. Okay, 120,000 pesos. Okay, so ang entry mo dyan, since liability method tayo, yung tinanggap mong pera, ipapasok mo siya as liability. So, meron kang debit cash, kasi meron kang tinanggap na pera, and credit unearned rent income. Unearned rent income. Okay? Pinangalanan ko lang kasi rent yun eh. Natanggap mo. Okay? Kaya unearned rent income. And of course, explanation to record cash receipt for 2-year rent. Okay, now, at the end of the period, okay, hindi, ang magiging entry mo is debit unearned rent income, okay, and credit rent income. Okay, so from March 1 to December 31, o ilang months yun? Ilang months siya. Okay, so ang amount ay 50,000 pesos. Okay, so na-consume na yung rent. Kaya tatanggalin mo na siya sa unearned rent income. Okay? Ilapasok mo na siya legit, okay, sa rent income. Kaya credit mo ay rent income, debit ay unearned rent income. Tanggalin mo na siya sa liability account. 50,000 pesos. Okay, paano nakuha ang 50,000? 120,000 divided by 24. Kasi, ano siya 2 years. So, there are 24 months in, okay, 24 months in 2 years time. 12 months in 1 year and times 2 years, so 24 months. And then from March 1 to December 31, so ilang months yan? 10 months. So, meron kang 50,000 pesos na legit rent income. And of course, your explanation to record earned rent income. Okay? Now, let's proceed now to the income method. Okay, so income method, ganon, same transaction tayo. This time, didiretso mo siya ng income. Okay, 2 years income. Okay, so kaya on March 1, your journal entry is debit cash, 120,000, and credit rent income, 120,000. Okay, 2020, pero dumaan ng December 31. 10 months lang yun. So, ang daming sobra. Diba? So, hindi ka makakapagbigay ng correct information sa financial statement mo kung hindi pa nga nakukonsume, pinapasok mo na agad sa rent income. Okay? Kaya, ang explanation mo for your journal entry to record cash receipt for 2-year rent. And on December 31, gagawa ka ng adjusting entry. Okay, debit rent income, okay, 70,000 pesos. And credit unearned rent income, okay, 70,000 pesos. So, yan yung portion na hindi pa nako-consume, 70,000. Okay? So, ang explanation mo, to record rent income not yet earned. Okay? So, unearned portion of the revenue yan. Okay? So let us now move to the fourth, adjusting entry, which is accrued revenue. So accrued revenue is the income already earned by the company but not yet collected. So payment will be received after services are completely rendered. So adjusting entry mo to record an accrued revenue, debit receivable, and credit revenue. Okay, so unbilled. Ang accrued revenue, just like accrued expense, ay mga unbilled. Okay? So this time, unbilled siya. Okay? Next, please let us see the example. Okay, so I have here transaction. ABC company rents out its warehouse to Mr. Cruz for a monthly rent of 30,000 pesos. As of December 31, 2020, Mr. Cruz has not yet paid the rent for the month of December. Okay? So, ang business dyan is si ABC Company at ang client mo ay si Mr. Cruz. So, si Mr. Cruz ay, okay, hindi pa nagbayad ng rent for the month of December. So, your entry will be debit rent receivable, okay, and credit, yes, 30,000, and credit rent income, 30,000 pesos. Okay, an explanation to record rent income earned. Okay, so accrued revenue siya, may revenue ka na, pero wala pang bayad. So, rent receivable siya. Why rent receivable? Kasi ano ba yung tatanggapin mo na bayad? Pang rent. Okay? Kaya meron kang rent receivable and credit rent income. Okay? So, ganun lang siya. So, let's proceed now with depreciation. Okay, so depreciation. Hello, Mr. Fidelito. Okay, so it's the portion of the plant assets cost that is charged to expense or written off each year. So this is an expense allotted for the wear and tear of property, plant, and equipment due to the passage of time. So, pag bumibili tayo kasi ng mga gamit, Hindi naman yan forever bago. Diba, minsan 1 month mo pa nga lang nagagamit, bumababa na yung kanyang value, nagde-depreciate na siya. What more kung maraming months and years mo na siyang ginagamit. Okay? So, depreciation ang tawag doon. So, the 3 factors considered in computing the depreciation expense are, okay, so number 1, we have cost. Okay, importante ang cost sa pag-compute ng depreciation. So, cost is the purchase price of the depreciable asset. Okay? Yung mga asset na bumababa yung value niya, yung mga nasisira. So, purchase price yung tinatawag natin cost. And then we also have salvage value. So this is the estimated value of the asset at the end of its useful life. Okay, salvage value niya. Magkano na lang yung halaga at the end of its useful life. Okay, yun ay kung pwede pang gamitin. Okay, estimated useful life. It is an estimation of the number of years an asset can be useful to the entity. The estimation can be based on experience, research, and professional judgment. So yung, paano mo nasabing 10 years lang yan? Based estimation lang to. Okay, estimation and judgment, di ba? Meron tayong concept and principles about that. So, could be based on experience, based on research, and based on professional judgment. Okay? Next, please, let us see the formula in computing the depreciation. So, ayan siya. So, ayan yung mga 3 factors nandyan. So, depreciation expense is equal to cost, okay, the purchase price, purchase value of the property, plant, and equipment minus salvage value. So, salvage value is the value at the end of its useful life. And of course, divided by estimated useful life. Okay? So, yan yung formula. So, pag nakuha mo na yan, ang adjusting entry at the end of the period, okay? So, debit depreciation expense and credit accumulated depreciation. Okay? So, next, please, let us see the example. So, ayan. So, I have here a table. Nandyan yung acquisition date. So, January 1, 2018. O, ano yung property mo? Building. Magkano yung purchase value niya or yung cost ng paggawa? 20 million, let's say. Kung magkano na lang ang salvage value niya at the end of its useful year? 1,500,000. And then estimated life of 20 years. Okay, so substitute lang natin sa ating formula yung mga given. So depreciation is equal to cost minus salvage value divided by estimated useful life. So that is 20 million minus 1,500,000 divided by 20 years. Okay? So anong makukuha natin? We will get 925,000 pesos per year. This is the depreciation of the building per year. Per year. Okay? So now, going back to the acquisition date, 2018. Okay, ang pinapakuha ko ang depreciation ng December 31, 2020. So, ilang years yun? Okay, so 80. Okay, so ayan siya. So, 925,000, okay, it should be 3 years. Okay, 18, 19, and 20. Okay, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. So, 925,000 times 3 years. Okay? And we will get, wait lang, I will compute. Okay, so that's 2,775,000. I am sorry for that mistake. It should be 3 years. 2,775,000. Okay? So, next slide, please. So, pag gumawa na tayo, okay, meron na tayong computation. Okay, pag gumawa na tayo ng adjusting entry, okay, so, ito, meron tayong general journal. So, debit, okay, December 31 ang date. Debit, depreciation expense, it should be 2,775,000. And credit, accumulated depreciation, 2,775,000. Okay? Merong lumabas na bagong account, which is accumulated depreciation. So, anong ibig sabihin ng accumulated depreciation na yan? So, it holds the sum of all the depreciation recorded for the asset. It's a contra-asset account, a deduction from the PPE account. And of course, your explanation to record depreciation expense for the building. Okay? Now, let's move to the next, the last one. The last adjusting entries, bad debts. Okay? So, bad debts expense are accounts of customers that cannot be collected anymore or are doubtful of collection. They are losses due to uncollectible accounts. So, bad debts kapag hindi mo na masisingil pa. Okay? So, wala nang pag-asa. It could be nagsara na yung kumpanya or wag naman, like may nangyaring hindi maganda dun sa owner na hindi na talaga makakabayad. Okay, so there are two methods. Okay, direct write-off method and allowance method. Now let us study direct write-off method. So this method recognizes bad debts expense only when it is certain that the company will not be able to collect the account anymore. Pag sure ka, pag sigurado ka nang hindi mo na talaga masisingil, like nawala ng parang bula yung company, nagsara na yung company, nag-declare na ng bankruptcy, close na, or wala na, hindi mo na mahanap yung may-ari. So, direkta mo na siyang gagawing expense. So, bad debt expense siya. Debit, bad debt expense. Okay? And then credit, accounts receivable. Tatanggalin mo na ngayon siya sa accounts receivable mo. Okay? Kasi wala nang pag-asa na masingil pa siya. Very sure na hindi mo na siya masisingil. So, that will be your adjusting entry. Okay? Kapag allowance method naman, okay, allowance method naman is, there are times na, so this method follows the matching principle which recognizes bad debts or doubtful accounts at the time service is rendered. For example, since kilala mo na yung client na yan, okay, sure ka, nako, sigurado ako, 5% nitong, hindi na naman nagbayad, okay, si client, sigurado ako, 5% nito hindi naman mababayaran. Doubtful account. Okay? So, upon rendering of services pa lang, alam mo na, a certain percentage of that accounts receivable is uncollectible or doubtful. Baka hindi mabayaran. So, your adjusting entry will be debit doubtful accounts expense and credit allowance for doubtful account. Okay? So, ito ay dalawang bagong account. Okay, na ang ibig sabihin, next slide please, doubtful accounts. These are uncollectible accounts determined by estimation based on the company's past experience. A certain percentage or ratio is derived between the previous bad accounts of the company and its outstanding, okay, receivable. Okay, so yun yung doubtful account. A certain percentage or ratio, okay, na sa tingin mo ay baka hindi mabayaran, kaya nga doubtful. Kung nabayaran, edi thank you. Pag hindi, wala. Okay, kaya nga doubtful accounts. Then, we also have the allowance for doubtful account. So, it is a contra-asset account which is deducted from the principal account, which is the accounts receivable. Okay, so let us see example for accrued revenue. So ito, ang transaction natin, 10% of the 30,000 accounts receivable is uncollectible. So kung direct write-off method siya, so kung certain ka na that the 10% is uncollectible, sure na sure ka, okay, so tatanggalin mo na siya sa accounts receivable mo. And your entry will be, of course, date is December 31, debit bad debts expense, 3,000 pesos, and credit accounts receivable, 3,000 pesos. So, tatanggalin mo na siya sa accounts receivable mo. Okay? And then, of course, your explanation will be to record uncollectible accounts. To record uncollectible. Hindi na makusisingil. Kaya nga, diniretso mo na siyang bad debts expense. Okay? Then, ilalis mo na siya sa accounts receivable. Okay, ngayon, doon naman tayo sa allowance method. Okay, same yung case natin, 10% of the 30,000 accounts receivable is uncollectible. Pero this time, allowance method tayo. Baka naman masingil, baka hindi magbayad, pero baka masingil din. 10% of the 30,000 is doubtful. Okay? So your entry will be, okay, December 31, debit doubtful accounts expense 3,000, and of course, credit allowance for doubtful accounts 3,000. Okay, where did I get 3,000? 10% of 30,000 is 3,000. Okay, so credit niya is allowance for doubtful accounts. Okay, and then explanation, to record accounts doubtful of collection. Okay, so yan yung ating example for accrued revenue na allowance method. Okay, again, kapag direct write-off, sure ka, hindi na masisingil. Kapag allowance method, doubtful lang. Baka hindi na masingil, pero baka pwede naman masingil. Okay, kaya nagda-doubt ka lang. Okay? So, next slide, please. Let us check your understanding. So, I'm done. Okay, I'm done discussing the 6 types of adjustments. So, let us check your understanding. So, I have number 1 here, income received in advance, although services have not been rendered, okay, to the client. Okay, so advance payment ito ng client. So, ano siya? Okay? Sige, let me see your answers. You can comment down your answers. You just write the number and your answer para alam ko. So, hello, Miss Tess. Watching from Kanaan School, Sarangani Division. Hello po, ma'am. Wow, Fredelito. Watching Hawaii? Watching Hawaii? Wow. Okay, let me see. Okay, let us reveal the answer. Okay, unearned income. Okay, so unearned income yan. So, it's a liability account. Okay, tumatanggap ka na ng pera. Okay, pero hindi ka pa nagtatrabaho. So, may utang ka. Unearned income. Okay, next. Number 2, expenses incurred in the current period but will be paid in the next accounting period. Expenses incurred in the current period but will be paid in the next accounting period. Okay, so anong meron tayo? How do you call that? Okay, so let us reveal the answer. Yes, accrued expense. Okay, so accrued expense yan, na-accumulate na yung expenses nyo pero hindi ka pa nagbabayad. So, accrued expense. Okay, third, number 3. Expenses allotted for the wear and tear of property, plant, and equipment due to passage of time. Kung anong tawag doon? Yung wear and tear ng plant, okay, property, and equipment. Okay, so let us reveal the answer. It's letter D, depreciation expense. Okay, so yan. Next, please. So ito, mahirap kasi sa accounting, talagang kailangan natin ng medyo mahaba-habang time, no? So I suggest you just screenshot this problem. Ito, connected to dun sa kanina, yung sa trial balance kanina ng Gala Travel and Tours. Okay, ito ngayon yung kanyang adjusting entries. Okay, so screenshot nyo na lang and then you answer that at home. And then I will reveal the answer, okay, next week. Okay, doon natin ipapakita yung sagot kasi gagamitin naman natin yun. Okay, yung mga sagot na yan sa next topic natin. Okay, so do you have any question? So we studied 6 adjusting entries, adjustments today, 6 types of adjustments. Prepaid expenses, accrued expenses, unearned revenue, depreciation, and bad debt. So if you have no more questions, so these are the references I used, mostly from the book published by C&E Publishing, authored by Flosser Lau Ong. Okay, if you have no more questions. So I think that's it for today. So thank you very much po. See you again next week po.
Sigurado ako na marami ka na namang natutuhan sa ating ETUlay tutorial session ngayong araw. Tandaan, ito ay hindi lamang para sa ating mga mag-aaral, kundi pati rin sa ating mga minamahal na guro at mga magulang na kaagapay natin para maituloy ang pagkatuto sa kabila ng nararanasang pandemya. Patuloy ding sumubaybay sa DepEd TV para sa mga araling ginawang video episodes. Mapapanood ito mula Lunes hanggang Sabado, alas 7 ng umaga hanggang alas 7 ng gabi sa inyong mga telebisyon. Abangan sa Lunes mula 1:00 ng tanghali ang iba pang aralin sa ating ETUlay free online tutorial session sa Science. I-like and subscribe at manatiling nakasubaybay sa ating ETUlay tutorial session sa DepEd Edtech Unit FB page at Educational Technology Unit channel sa YouTube at sa DepEd Tayo at DepEd Philippines social media accounts. Paalam!